Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery, and I'm about to put together batch number 2 of the Extractaganza. Just poured myself a nice a bottle of the last bottle floating around of the Brewmaker's Lager. All the rest of the bottles have all gone. The brothers got them all, or I've had a couple for tasting. No, that's not what we're here for. So, the brew number 2, this fella, Black Rock. Black Rock Dry Lager. Going down today. I've bottled up batch number 1 a few days ago. Taken me a couple of more days to get onto this fella than I wanted to. I wanted to get turnover a little bit quicker than what I did, but work's been knocking me around, and this is where we got to. So this is going down today, and as with the first brew, I will be knocking up exactly the same way. So that will be with now I can't find me bloody where I wrote it. 500 grams of light dry malt and 200 grams of Dex in one half, and 500 Dex and 200 light dry malt in the other. So we'll go a Dex base and a dry malt base. 1 pack of yeast per half batch. And as we're a lager, we're doing a lager. So S189, I will be just dropping a dry packet of each, of that onto each. Now that's probably as far as I would normally recommend, a little bit on the light side pitch wise, but not a lot, because they're a lower alcohol brew. So that would be fine. I'd probably would rather look at about a pack and a half, but this will do the job fine. And I'm going to brew this at 13 degrees Celsius for basically 2 weeks. I'll probably let it run about 5 days, raise the temperature for a couple of days, then drop it back a little bit, cold crash, and bottle them up. This will be running in the corny kegs under some pressure. The first batch gave me some grief, which if you watched the video on that you'll know. One fermenter did not hold pressure, which was a bit of a piss off. So I had tossed up going back to the standard fermenter. Until I can get that problem sorted out, but I'm going to run with it. I'm hoping it was a spunding valve issue, and I'm hoping I can fix it fairly simply. So that's what's going on today. I'm going to mix this up in a minute. I'm going to get it on, and you'll be seeing me very shortly, 6-8 weeks down the track, when we taste it and see how it came out. See you then. Howdy folks, I'm back and tasting time for this fella. Let me just find my notes so I've got the right information to go with. So, batch number 2 of the Extractaganza. And we've got a Black Rock dry lager. This fella is bottled on the 30th of April. That's nearly 10th of June, so April, May, June. Gets us pretty close to 6 weeks. I think we're like a bloody 2 days short of 6 weeks. We're pretty close. We'll give them a 4. Good carb out of that first bottle. Good carb in this one too, by the looks of it. Oof, I'm getting a very distinct aroma of, European style, multi Pilsner lager type beer, which is one would expect from this style. So, Black Rock dry lager. I have, get myself set here. Beer on the left, your right. This one has been done with 1 kilo of Dex and 400 grams of light dry malt, and have a starting gravity of 1046. Beer on my right, your left of course, is 1 kilo of light dry malt and 400 grams of Dex, starting gravity of 1045. Now I brewed these with S189. I haven't put any info here, so I'm assuming I've just pitched 1 packet dry into each keg. These are done in the 19 litre corny kegs with some pressure. So at 12.8 degrees, and they run up to about 15 psi pressure. After a week I raised temperature to 16 degrees, left it there for 5 days, and then cold crash for 3 days. So ferment was 15, the 30th was 15 days from pitching to bottling, 15 days. So we'll start with the dextrose on the left. Beautiful and clear, lovely. I mean, that's you can't ask for much better than that. I'm pretty sure you can see me behind that with no problem at all. Yeah, they're both very clear. So nicely carved with the pressure from the keg. Happy with that. The final gravity was 1012. So gravity didn't go super low. Considering it's a dry lager, I would have expected it to have gone lower than that. I really would have thought at least sort of 1008, but there's 400 grams of light dry malt in there, so good. But that smells, for all intents, like a traditional European lager. It's got that sweet malty note, that little bit of that grassy hop that you get with pilsners and that sort of thing. It's got that light, that light Swedish malt. Has got that grassy sort of noble hop type of feel going on. It's reasonably clean, light bodied. A little bit of edge on the flavour, which I don't want to touch on just a moment. I want to see how I go with this malt version first before I sort of start trying to pull that apart. So this fella was 4.5% alcohol. Over here on the malt base, it started 1 point lower on the original gravity, and finished 10.14. So I finished 2 points higher, so I ended up about 4.1% alcohol. So she's a bit lighter on the alcohol. It's still lovely and clear. It's a tiny fraction. Oh geez, I tell you, you'd be pushing, even bloody struggling to pull the colour difference apart. The nose is very much the same. Okay, that's got a lot more body. Straight up, first thing you notice was that just more malt, more body. Just, yeah. Not that it's a big beer, but it's considerably bigger in mouthfeel than the dextrose version. So a really nice amount of malt there. The hop is probably a little bit less pronounced, with not quite as much of that grassy character as the dextrose is dragging over. I think the malt's softening that hop edge a little bit. That little weirdness that was in there, I'm not really getting, pardon me, I'm not really getting it here in the malt version. Like, it's tiny. So look, I think what it is, yeah, it's there a little bit more there. So I'm thinking it's probably some to do with the dextrose, with the sugar. Oh, yeah, the lack of malt. Now it's not a bad flavour. It's just takes away from the cleanliness of the beer, just a touch. Now I'm just looking at both these bottles. They've actually got a surprising amount of yeast crud in the bottle, considering they come off the keg. And as I said, I was a little bit surprised about that they hadn't gotten a little bit lower on the original gravity. So I don't know whether there was maybe just a touch of fermentation still to go on with this. Now I do know I normally recommend a 3 week turnaround on most beers. Okay. And particularly lagers. So I don't know whether I have inadvertently pull this one up shy. Because I didn't get a running consistency on that final gravity. I had B1, so I was measuring this fella. Yeah. So at that time I didn't have the pin lock fittings. I wasn't able, didn't have the setup to get samples easy out of the pin lock keg, which I now have. So I was taking samples out of the ball lock keg, which was the malt keg. And as I said, it had dropped on the pressure had eased and that wasn't growing. So I was pretty confident at the time they'd finished fermenting, and they don't seem to have really overgassed in the bottles. The carbonation seems fairly consistent with having been done. I think at most they may have dropped a point or two post bottling, which might have got them down to a 10, 10-10 to 10-12, 10-10 here. But certainly no more than that. But that I don't think's had a real lot to do with the beer. I think the flavour here is being just knocked around a little bit from the high sugar content. There's not enough there to carry it. And I think the malt version is a little bit too much malt. Let's revise that. I want to just clarify that. It's a lager. This kit is not a pilsner. It's a lager, and that is more lager-like. That is getting more into a pilsner sort of an edge, where it's lighter, with a crisper hop bite. That's a bit more rounded, with a gentle hop bitterness. I think they both work in their own way, depending on exactly what it is you're after in the beer. If you do like that lighter pilsner style, then the dextrose has worked. But that is actually quite drinkable, and not a bad representation of a European style lager. Obviously, to get it dry, you do need to be going down this high dex avenue. And that is certainly a lighter, crisper sort of thing that does fall more into that dry category. I personally enjoying both of those. They're both decent beers. That little bit of weirdness initially sort of it's dissipated. It's gone a little bit as the tongue's adjusted. So I rate both all right, fine as they are. I think to take that with the high malt and the lower dex, and to even run a little bit of dry enzyme to drag it down, and to get it dry that way, I think that would be an interesting thing to look at. Though I have done the experiments where I did get better results with dextrose as opposed to the dry enzyme, to get that dry sort of finish. But Look, I'm going to give both these beers a score of 4 out of 5. Definitely worth having a go at. I think if you're a lager drinker, if you like, like I said, the European sort of style, or even the modern lighter lager styles like your Great Northerns and things like that, I think this wouldn't be a bad kit to start playing around with to get that sort of finish. I think you could get in that range fairly easily. I think if you were to take the dry malt out of that and just run dextrose, it would get quite light and quite crisp, and probably get you into that, you know, super crisp Northern Iron Jack sort of a bloody mega swirl thing. For me, I think that level of malt is about as low as I'd want to go, but like I said, that's sliding into that style is not where I want to be going with my beer. If you want to go there, then I think having a go at that with maybe 1.2 kilo of dex and maybe 200 grams of malt, I think it's going to get you in that sort of zone where you want to be, and you'd probably get up to around the 4.9% on the keg quite easily with a, you know, maybe a 10-10 finish. Other thing you could look at would be the yeast. I think if you were to go something a bit drier, W3470 would probably, I reckon you could probably drop a point or two just on the yeast choice. A big starter. I mean, look, I only pitched one packet dry. A slightly higher attenuative yeast pitched in a starter or 2 packets. If it's a full batch, it would be 3 packets. Then I think you might be able to drag, you know, a little bit of points down and get that dry finish. That works quite fine. If you like a nice round lager, I don't think there's any reason to change that. You can just brew that, no problem at all. 1 kilo of light dry malt, 400 grams of dex. Yeah, that's fine. It's finished at 4.1%, so it's a little on the lighter end. So you could go an extra 100 grams of each, even 200 grams malt, 100 of dex. Bring it up into that 4.6% range. Play around with the yeast again. Might be able to bring it down another 2 points and get you to 4.8, 4.9. But yeah, 4 out of 5 both kits. I think somewhere nicely in the middle would probably work quite nice. I think maybe 800 of dex and maybe 800 of the light dry malt and 500 or 600 of the dex. I think would sneak you down a little bit where that hop edge would come up a little bit more. But other than that, I think, yeah, for a straight up simple kit beer, I'm really happy. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with this brew. Again, Black Rock. I've been impressed with I haven't done many Black Rock. I've done a couple recently in the last sort of, you know, 6 to 9 months, and I've been impressed with all the kits I've done. They seem to be going alright, so I'm looking forward to getting my hands on some more Black Rock in the future and keep playing with them. Because at the moment, yeah, they seem to be going alright. But yeah, that's it. Black Rock dry, successful. Definitely worth having a go at. Yeah, if you like your lagers, Euro Pilsners, yeah, even your modern mega swill, definitely worth having a go at. And I think there's lots of scope to play with it in your home brewery to get it how you want. So that's me. Questions and comments down the bottom as always. Big thumbs up, Little John's Patreons. Guys, thank you for your support. Subscribers, if you're not subscribed, hit the button down there. Hit the like button. All these things help keep me going, keep the channel going. Doing these things, doing these experiments and trying all these different kits. Next tasting will be the ESB Belgian Golden Ale, the 3 kilo straight up kit which has no additions in it. Just top it up with some more water and pitch some yeast. That will be in 2 weeks' time. So till then, I said cheers and thank you to everybody. But between here and there, whether we be brewing beer, drinking beer or talking beer, good brewing.